In 2024, Russia will hold its 8th presidential election. The election committee scheduled the election from March 15th to March 17th, 2024. If no candidate received more than half of the votes, a second round would occur on April 7th, 2024. The election winner was scheduled to be inaugurated on May 7th, 2024. In November 2023, Boris Nadezhdin was a former member of the State Duma. He announced his candidacy. He was the first backed by a registered political party. He ran on an anti-war platform. Incumbent and independent candidate Vladimir Putin announced his candidacy in December 2023. Putin was eligible to seek re-election as a result of 2020 constitutional amendments. Later in December 2023, Leonid Slutsky of the LDPR said he would run. Nikolay Kharitonov of the Communist Party and Vladislav Davankov of New People also said they would run. However, other candidates declared their candidacy. Various reasons barred them from running. Nadezhdin passed the initial stages, but on February 8, 2024, they barred him from running. A special CEC session announced the decision. It cited alleged problems with the signatures of voters supporting his candidacy. Many people thought Nadezhdin got disqualified. He was the only candidate against war. Vladislav Davankov also promised peace and negotiations with Ukraine. Davankov and this contrast. He is relatively young. Putin is 71 years old. Observers describe Davankov as the top candidate to replace Putin. Alexei Navalny is the opposition leader. A prior criminal conviction barred him from running in the 2018 election. Many viewed it as politically motivated. Navalny died in jail in suspicious circumstances in February 2024. This was 1 month before the election. Many observers did not expect the election to be free or fair. They believed that Putin increased political repressions. This has happened ever since launching his full-scale war with Ukraine in 2022. They thought he would dominate the process. Clause 3 of Article 81 of the Constitution of Russia says that before the 2020 revision, one person couldn't be president of Russia for more than 2 terms in a row. This allowed Vladimir Putin to become president in 2012. It was his 3rd term, but not one after the others. The constitutional reform established a hard limit of 2 terms overall. However, terms served before the constitutional revision did not count. This change gave Vladimir Putin eligibility for 2 more terms. The new constitution says presidential candidates must be at least 35 years old. They must have lived in Russia for at least 25 years. They must not have foreign citizenship or a residence permit abroad. This must be true at the time of the election or before it. The upcoming Russian presidential election has drawn the attention of people worldwide. The candidates who will appear on the ballot are as follows. First on the list is Vladislav Davankov, who is 40 and belongs to the New People Party. He is the deputy chairman of the State Duma and has been a member of the State Duma since 2021. He hails from Moscow. In December 2023, his party nominated Davankov during the party's Congress. He was also supported by the Party of Growth, which announced that it would merge with New People. Davankov submitted documents to join the election on 25 December 2023 and 1 January 2024. You can find the details of his campaign on his website, and he registered on 5th of January 2024. Next up is Vladimir Putin, the current president of Russia. He is 71 years old and is running as an independent candidate. Putin has served as the Prime Minister of Russia. He also led the Federal Security Service, FSB. He is from Moscow. During a ceremony in December 2023, Putin announced that he would run in the election, United Russia and A Just Russia. For Truth, among others, support him. Putin submitted documents to join the election on 18 December 2023. They registered on 20 December. The CIC analyzed 60,000 signatures out of the 315,000 submitted by Putin. Only 91.015% were invalid, well below the 5% threshold. You can find his campaign details on his website, and he registered on 29 January 2024. Third on the list is Leonid Slutsky, who is 56 years old and belongs to the Liberal Democratic Party. He is the leader of the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia and has been a member of the State Duma since 1999. He is from Moscow. In December 2023, Slutsky's party nominated him during the party's Congress. He submitted documents to the CEC on 25 December 2023 and 1 January 2024. You can find his campaign details on his website, and he registered on 5 January 2024. Finally, Nikolay Kharitonov is 75 years old. He belongs to the Communist Party. He will appear on the ballot. He has been a member of the State Duma since 1993 and is from Krasnodar Krai. His party nominated Kharitonov in December 2023 during the party's Congress. He previously ran in the 2004 presidential election and came second with 13.7% of the vote. Kharitonov submitted documents to join the election on 27 December 2023 and 3 January 2024. You can find his campaign details on his website, and he registered on 9 January 2024. The people of Russia eagerly await the election to see who will lead their country for the next term. In early 2024, the world's gaze turned to events in Eastern Europe. Diplomats and spies took covert actions. The actions caused tension and intrigue in the region. They wove these into a complex web. In Latvia, the air was thick with anticipation and unease. On a crisp day in March, the Justice Minister, Ineza Libina Egnere, made a startling announcement on TV3. She implied that Russians in Latvia could face criminal charges. It would be for justifying the invasion of Ukraine at the Russian embassy in Riga. The statement shocked the community. Fear and suspicion overshadowed what organizers intended to be a democratic process. Tensions increased on 11th March. Armāns Ruks is the head of the Latvian State Police. He said that voters at the embassy would face police checks to enter. This was an unheard-of move, raising questions about balancing security and freedom. Meanwhile, in Moldova, a diplomatic storm was brewing. The Moldova Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned the Russian ambassador Oleg Vasnetsov. Russia's decision caused this summons. They decided to open 6 polling stations in Transnistria. Someone occupies the area. They are for Russia's presidential election. Moldova's foreign minister, Mihai Popsoy, called the act unacceptable. He said Moldova had agreed to open only 1 polling station. International law allows this, and it will be within the Russian embassy in Chisinau. But conflict's shadow stretched past diplomatic spats. It reached into the heart of the contested lands. On the first day of early voting in parts of Ukraine occupied by Russia, violence erupted. 2 bombs exploded. One was at the local offices of the United Russia Party. The other was near a polling station in Novokakhovka, Kherson Oblast. Days later, a car bomb in Berdyansk, Zaporizhzhia Oblast, killed an official. The official worked for the Central Election Commission. Ivan Fedorov is the Ukrainian governor of the oblast. He chillingly said the attack was our resistance. He linked it to the Ukrainian secret services. Amidst this turmoil, on the 12th of March, a defiant message emerged. It was from the Sibir Battalion, an armed Russian opposition group based in Ukraine. They published a video condemning the elections. It declared that ballots and polling stations are fiction. A member of the Freedom of Russia Legion said something similar. The Legion had also joined the Western Russia incursion. They called their actions a voting method. It was an audacious attempt to disrupt the vote. Even President Putin weighed in. He described the incursion as an attempt to disrupt the election. It was an attempt to interfere with expressing the will of citizens. These events unfolded. They painted a picture of a region. It struggles when caught between the desire for self-rule and the tricks of power. Each incident and statement was a thread. They were part of the struggle for influence and control in Eastern Europe. It was a story of defiance, resilience, and the unending quest for freedom.